numerous times and just changed the color scheme. So it basically consists on comprising and adding together a lot of different materials, so your fly will have as much movement in the water as possible, while still being fairly easy to tie. So first of all, I'm gonna tie. Gonna make a sound, a good base of thread here, and this thread I'm using here is a new thread. It's a GSP thread from a company called Futurefly, and this is well, the best thread I've tried so far. I've been very happy with the Vivus thread so far, but this is actually better. This is stronger, it's thinner, and well, it really works well. I've used this a lot lately, and I must say it really does the trick. So first of all, to do this, I'm gonna use some bucktail. Bucktail is a wonderful material, and you're probably familiar with it. It has a lot of very great properties, especially for pike flies, but also for sea trout streamers and saltwater flies in particular. Also very usable for salmon and sea trout flies. So a very versatile material that you, well, I would say you can't get enough of. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a fairly large bundle of this. I'm gonna tie this down. So it's all the tips are pointing forward. Just gonna attach a few loose turns here, and then I'm gonna apply a bit more pressure here. And as you can see, as I build the pressure, the material starts to rise. And why I want to do this is I want to have this kind of corona effect here. I want this, so I turn it backwards. And this is to actually maintain and keep all the rest of my materials spread out and give my fly a lot of volume and a lot of bulk. So I'm gonna tie up to the bucktail, but not on top of the bucktail here. This is gonna be a fire tiger something. I had this this very long thread going on Facebook. And if you want, please add me as a friend on Facebook. My name is Daniel D. Holm, Daniel Dietrich Holm. But what I had this long thread going regarding what this should be called, and there was a lot of crazy and a lot of very good names. One I liked in particular was the Kraken. This is this mythical creature from deep down in the ocean who comes and claims the lives of fishermen and seamen. So I really seamen. Not to get confused with anything else. You know, the sailors, I should say, probably instead. So this mythical creature, and I really like this. It's gonna be a lot in fire tiger color. So I'm taking some big fly fiber in the color fire tiger, a nice blended color. One of the, well, I don't know if you can say new blended colors since they've been on the market for like a year or something like that, but well, relatively new compared to big fly fiber, which is, well, a steady product that has been on the market for forever. Doesn't make it any less viable or good. So I'm gonna take my big fly fiber here, and I'm gonna tie it down so it's gonna be distributed quite evenly all the way around the tube here, like so. Just gonna hammer it with some thread. Just apply some pressure here. Make sure your thread is tied very nicely down. What I'm tying on here is the Futurefly tubes. The Futurefly tubes are very nice because they have the right diameter, so you can get your leader through it. But also there is a lot in the package. You get the double amount in a package than you does with the Oyma tubes. So I prefer the Futurefly tubes simply because they are lower and they cost less, and that's important when you tie a fairly large amount of fairly big flies. Then I at least want to keep my costs down. So like so. And to keep the fire tiger theme going, of course, what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna add some fire tiger flesh. This is flashabou magnum. And as you can see, this is 52 bloody centimeters long. This is without a doubt the best flesh material I ever worked with. And the fire tiger color, as you can see here, is a nice blend of 4 different colors, copper and green and yellow and stuff. So really has a nice fire tiger look to it. Matches the rest of this fly very well, like so. And what I want to do is I want to take and just pull out these so my ends here are not the same length. Because if they are, the fly will simply look dead in the water, and the flesh will not move as well. Because the flesh simply will cling together. So again, I try to make this spread this out a bit, like so I can get it to be distributed all the way around the fly. I'm gonna make this so it's a bit longer. The first portion I'm gonna tie down is a bit longer, and of course I'm not gonna cut off the part that sticks out in front here. I'm gonna use that as kind of like a second wing, adding a lot of not a lot, but adding some turns of the tying thread, and then I'm simply just gonna double this over here, just to ensure that my flesh is very solidly tied down, but also to avoid any wasted flesh material. On these pike flies, you simply just need to add as much flesh as you can. Well, on some of them, there are of course days where black is the only way to go and stuff like that. But as a generally speaking, a lot of flesh is nice for these flies. For some reason, there seems to be a place where there's no flesh. I'm gonna make that up to you. Just gonna cut off a small bundle here. We can't have that. Yeah, that looks better. So, what do you want to have when you build flies like this? Is I like to have stuff that adds contrast and stuff like that, and that is also why I'm gonna add a bit of lateral scales. This is a even thicker and kind of like crinkled flesh that moves independently on its own and really reflects light a lot. So it gives a different shine to the fly than the flashabou does. Just gonna take 5 strands or so of this in gold. Again, trying to distribute them as much around the actual tube as possible, like so. Oh, you're tying here in the dead of winter. I really look forward to the spring and to all the pikes. You can fish pike, of course, and I'm gonna do that in my Christmas holiday as well. But well, unless the lakes actually freeze over, which I of course don't hope, but well, you can never know. Well, that was kind of like some of the early stages. Now all there's left is to tie some of these hackle feathers on there, a marabou hackle, and some very large ostrich feathers, and then you're actually done. So I'm gonna take not many of these. These are expensive, regretfully, but I have in my shop. I've made some packages from simply tearing up some of these saddles, so you can actually buy a small pack or a decent sized pack of these without having to buy a whole complete or a half saddle in every color. That's very expensive. So I'm gonna take about 5 of these, something like that, and I'm gonna again try to distribute them as evenly as I can, but mostly on the top side here. And these provide the stripes, of course, for my fire tiger, which is awesome. But the also it's not just these feathers are not just only for show. They actually move very nicely in the water and adds a lot of life and a lot of vitality to the fly. Also, what I really like about these is they're very durable. If you tie them down correctly and you use some good strong thread and a bit of tying thread, and also one other thing I'm gonna do for you now is when you've tied these on there, it's a very good idea to simply take some super glue and just make sure that these feathers will stay there. Just apply a bit of super glue to these hackles. They will stay there forever, and that's well spent, I can tell you, because well, as you know, these saddle feathers are regretfully a bit expensive. And now I have glued a bundle of big fly fiber to my fingers. God damn it! Go away. Oh, like so. Just gonna make sure these are gonna stay where I want them to be. Like that. If you have a leftover stump of some feather or something like that, you can simply just take that and just, you know, clean if there is a bit left over of the super glue. Well, what I want to do now is I want to take a piece of this, a bundle of this ostrich. Ostrich is nice because it's really moves great in the water. It's not that expensive, so it's a very good option if you don't want to go all the way and buy the saddle feathers. Then this ostrich can really add the life you need, but also it gives a great it makes your fly looks great, both in in your fly box and if you want to take pictures and, you know, spread them around on Facebook and stuff like that. Then this ostrich looks good, but it really comes it's all worth it as soon as you see your fly in the water. It moves very nice. So again, trying to distribute this, and I'm gonna tie this so it's pointing forward, because I'm gonna use a head to actually get all of this to be pointed backwards, because this will give a bit more life and also fill out my fish skull. I'm gonna use a Flyman fish skull on this fly, fill out that better, like so. Cutting off all these stupid little stumps here, without cutting all my flesh, of course. Or my feathers. And then I'm gonna take an orange marabou feather, and I'm gonna use this as a hackle, simply to give it a nice finishing touch up here. Also to hide, you know, the tie it down stuff I have here. So if ever you have a fly that looks just a bit clumsy and you think, oh, how the hell can I actually save this so it looks at least decent? Well, the secret is use a marabou hackle. A marabou hackle can hide almost anything, so I use that all the time. So whenever I'm in trouble and a fly looks a bit shaky, just add some marabou. Marabou will cover all your tracks and all your bases and make your fly look great. And it's surprisingly sturdy. I mean, this actually, I thought these were gonna be eaten and, you know, and disappear in a matter of seconds after the first pike strike. But it just stays there. It just hangs on there and really lasts a long time, way longer than what I would have expected. Oh, this is a nice quality feather I found here. A lot of long, very thin feather stem and some very long marabou fibers like this. I'm gonna just tie this down right there. And this is all gonna be completely covered by a fish mask, so I'm not gonna be too careful about how this actually, well, of course I'm careful about how it looks, but it's not gonna be something I'm gonna lose sleep over. like that. I'm gonna make my whip finish here. Just here in between all this mess here is a nice place for your whip finish. It takes a bit of effort because there is a lot going on here with the ostrich and the marabou, but just try to pull out if anything is tangled, like so. Pull that up there, cut off a tying thread. If you want, you can add a bit more super glue to the fly about here, but actually there really is no need, because all of this is going to be covered completely by the fish skull. So then I'm going to take my fish mask in 10 millimeters. 10 millimeters is the best size for pike flies, I find. And as you can see now, I really want this to be as vibrant as possible and to stand out as much as possible. And that's why it's a good idea with the head here, because then I can actually take the head and force it back. But because I've not tied it down too much, it will still have a lot of actually, you know, sway out there and stuff like that. And well, here you have it, a 25 centimeters, fairly easy, very very lively, fairly easy to tie, but also very important, very easy to cast fly, and of course you will need the eyes. And I've been so lucky, or I don't know if lucky is the right word. I've spent quite a lot of time to actually figure out how I should do this to get some eyes. Also, I think eyes is important to have in your shop. So in my shop, I've decided to simply have some that is not too expensive, but have some of these very cool frantic eyes. But I only charge about €2. So there you have it, the Kraken, the monster from below. And I guarantee you, this one will find you some pike. Well, thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed it. All the best and Merry Christmas. Bye.